Welcome, MHP Rhino Nation, to another episode. Let's get dive deep into MHP's baby.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we are really tearing into some source material that offers a radical, maybe even brutal take on confidence, power, and psychological dominance.
Yeah, this isn't your standard self-help fare. It's positioned much more like a tactical manual, very strategic, drawing on ideas presented as, well, Machiavellian.
Exactly. So our mission here is to pull out the core rules, the actionable stuff, for developing what the source actually calls dangerous confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to start with maybe the most provocative claim it makes, confidence. It's not a personality trait. It's described as a weapon, a tool of projection. The argument is that the world, people, systems, they believe the person who looks the most certain. It doesn't matter as much about their actual skill or, the truth of the situation.
And that's what's immediately fascinating, right? That cynical framing. It just completely sidesteps meritocracy.
Right.
It's basically saying power doesn't often go to the best person, but to the one projecting the most certainty, which shifts everything immediately. It's all about performance, control, not necessarily competence.
It forces you, the listener, to think about, well, how much does just being good at something matter if you can't project that you're the authority?
Yes, exactly. And that projection, that authority, requires what the source calls a total identity shift. Moving from this default servant state
It's a hesitant to react to it.
to the ruler identity. And it's an internal battle first, before anything external happens.
Okay, let's start right there then. Section 1. The inner transformation, this idea of killing the servant. What exactly is this inner servant figure?
So the inner servant is basically presented as your conditioned voice, the one trained, through years of social interaction, repetition, rules.
To hesitate.
To hesitate, to overthink everything, constantly look outside for validation, apologize before you even need to, always asking, is this okay?
That sounds familiar.
It's framed as the chain holding you back from decisive action. And to get free, that subservience, that programming has got to be, well, the source says, killed, obliterated.
Okay, but how? How do you kill part of your own internal monologue? The source gives these really stark rules for, immediate physical inversion.
They are stark. It's like psychological warfare on yourself, using your body as the weapon almost. So when that servant voice says shrink, make yourself small.
You expand. Physically take up space.
Exactly. When you feel that urge, that need to explain or justify yourself.
You pause. You just stop. Let the silence do the work.
And the most aggressive one, when you feel that anxiety spike wanting to apologize, you hold eye contact, you stare instead.
Wow. That's deeply counterintuitive. It goes against so much social conditioning.
Yeah.
Why does that inversion supposedly work? Strategically.
Well, the logic is that this dangerous confidence is built only by doing the exact opposite of what the programmed self, the servant, wants to do, what it would never dare to do. Yep. So every time you consciously override that impulse, the flinch, the apology, the shrinking, you're basically proving to your own subconscious that the servant isn't running the show anymore. You're rewriting your own internal rules with action. Calculated action.
The source is incredibly blunt here. The instruction is, if it makes you small, kill it. And that's thoughts, habits, even people, it suggests. If it makes you weak, deny its power over you.
Yeah.
And then there's that line, nice men are merely tools. That's quite a statement.
It is, and it's crucial to unpack. When the source says tools, it isn't necessarily an insult to kindness itself. It's a critique of predictability, of being too available. A nice man, in this context, prioritizes being accepted over being effective, maybe. Comfort over control. He's manageable because his need for approval is obvious. That's the lever.
So he can be manipulated.
Or discarded, yeah. The powerful man, in contrast, operates with calculation, precision, measured actions, always toward an objective, not just pleasing whoever's in the room.
It sounds like moving from default social settings to pure strategic intent. Okay, let's shift then. Section 2. Projecting this externally. You've started the internal work, killing the servant. How do you project this ruler identity? And it's counterintuitive again. It's about stillness, silence.
That's right. The source insists when you walk into a room, you arrive with presence, not noise. And the physical sign of this confidence, Slow movement.
Slow movement. Why slow?
Because you're in no hurry. Think of the prior analogy the source uses. The powerful one moves slowly, deliberately, not of an uncertainty, but because it's assessing, calculating. It knows the outcome is inevitable. Rushing signals anxiety. Stillness signals ownership.
Okay, so you walk in slowly. Then what?
Observation, absorption. You let everyone else rush to talk, rush to prove themselves, fill the silence. They give away their positions.
Oh, you're just watching.
Calculating, yeah. This slow, deliberate observation is key because your posture, your physical being in the space speaks way before you say a word. The source really hammers this point.
And this leads to the technique of using silence to create gravity. Explain that. Talking makes you predictable.
According to this view, yes. Constant talking lays out your thoughts, makes you easy to read. The quiet person, they're the unknown variable, the potential threat because nobody knows what they're thinking or planning.
So silence creates a vacuum.
Exactly, a vacuum that forces others to react. If you enter a space totally calm, totally unbothered by conversational gaps, people start questioning themselves. Why is he so quiet? What does he know? That uncertainty you project is the gravity. That's the perceived power.
And this all builds towards the ultimate marker, indifference to approval. Carrying yourself like you've already won. Not arrogant, but just beyond competition because you've already chosen yourself.
That indifference really is the linchpin. If you need validation from others, they have leverage over you. Simple as that. But if you project this unshakable sense that their judgment is frankly irrelevant to your reality, you strip away their power to affect you. Respect to despise, it doesn't matter. You remain unchanged internally. And that's terrifying to someone trying to control the situation, or you.
Speaking of control, Section 3. Speaking like a decision. How does this identity sound? Speech as a weapon, not a request.
Slow, calm, and crucially final. The source is adamant. The tone is the real message. Powerful words with a shaky voice. People hear the shake, not the words.
So practical advice.
Lower your pitch slightly. Slow. Tempo, write it down. And actively purge that nervous energy, those upward inflections that make statements sound like questions. Get rid of them. Every sentence should land like a decision made, a decree almost.
And there's a strict do not use list, isn't there? Verbal toxins to eliminate.
Oh, yeah. No filler words if you can help it. No rambling explanations or justifications. No apologies for stating your view. Phrases like, I'm just saying, or I could be wrong, or does that make sense?
The source calls these escape hatches.
Escape hatches. Yeah, ways to back out if challenged. Ways to avoid full commitment to your own words, your own reality. The calculated approach demands zero hedging. You state the fact or the intention. Then stop. Embrace the silence.
That silence again. Let it hang there.
Absolutely. You make a strong statement, then silence. You shift the burden. Let them fill the void. Let them challenge the decree. The source claims the silence basically dares people to challenge you. And most people, they won't. It takes more conviction to challenge silence than noise.
Okay, but what if they do challenge? The rule is pretty absolute here. Never defend, never argue, never justify.
You redirect. Refusing to debate is positioned as the strategic high ground. If you start defending, you implicitly accept that their challenge has merit, that your reality is negotiable.
So what do you do?
Keep it simple. Affirm, calm, I disagree. Or, that's incorrect. Then immediately pivot back to your agenda. You signal, without saying it, that their opinion doesn't have the power to derail you.
Which brings us neatly to Section 4, the fortress mind. Maybe the toughest part. Emotional unreachability. Because if someone can trigger you, push your buttons.
Then all the posture and the quiet confidence is just window dressing?
Right, you're exposed.
Yeah.
And this is where let's call it the ruthlessness of this philosophy really kicks in. Think about Machiavelli's advice to rulers. Avoid being despised, yes, but also avoid being held in contempt. Emotional dependency, being easily flattered, easily angered, makes you manageable.
And therefore contemptible.
In this framework, yes. Once people know what moves you, what gets under your skin, they control your tempo. They can manipulate you. And a manageable person, the source argues, is ultimately a disposable person.
So the goal isn't to not feel, but to stop reacting based on feelings. Become the calculator, not the reactor.
Exactly. Insults, praise, they're just data. Observe them. Extract the motive behind them. Why this insult now? What's the gain? Why this flattery? What leverage are they after?
For a bit like intel gathering. Precisely. You train your mind to see these things as external variables, not reflections of your self-worth. You aim for psychological unreachability. You might feel anger, doubt, whatever. But you act on nothing unless it serves a strategic outcome. Your mind is a fortress. You control the gate.
Okay, but practically, for someone listening, starting out, how do you begin to stop reacting emotionally? That feels huge.
The source suggests the root issue, the virus to kill, is that deep human need, the need to be understood, to be validated, to be seen.
That's our vulnerability.
That's your weakest point, according to this. So the practical starting point, when you feel that emotional surge, pause, force yourself. Instead of analyzing the feeling it caused in you, analyze the motive behind whatever caused it. Shift focus from internal validation to external strategy.
Stop chasing approval, start calculating moves.
Right. Emotions become irrelevant unless you can consciously use them. Weaponize them as fuel, perhaps, or leverage, but they don't get to drive the bus.
That is a cold calculation.
It is. But the logic follows. If your enemy or competitor or whoever cannot move you emotionally, what can they do? They can only watch you move with precision. That's psychological dominance as defined here.
Okay, finally, section 5, weaponizing rejection. Because rejection happens. How does this calculated persona handle it? It's framed not as defeat, but as intelligence.
Invaluable intelligence, yeah. A sign, maybe, that you were too available or too easily read before. And there's a 5-step process laid out to turn that perceived loss into actual control.
Step 1.
Never appear affected. Simple, but hard. Showing pain is a win for the challenger. Maintain the legend. Reframe it internally. You weren't rejected. They disqualified themselves from access to you.
Okay. Step 2 involves absence.
Strategic absence. Withdraw your presence like a weapon. Vanish. No explanation. No emotional goodbyes. No public drama. The silence of your exit needs to be deafening. Make them feel a void. Make them question the value of what they lost.
Step 3 is internal narrative control.
Right. Rewrite the story in your head. You weren't chasing. You selected yourself out of a game that was too small anyway. They failed the test of recognizing your value. This protects your internal authority.
Step 4, convert it into control. How?
Rejection gives you clarity. Pure data. It shows you exactly who is blind to your value and where your power currently has no impact. Use that data. Sharpen your image, amplify your value, especially in the areas where you were just shown a weakness or a blind spot.
Which leads to the final step. Step 5, weaponize your comeback. This isn't just revenge, is it?
No, that's the key distinction. Revenge is emotional, fast, seeks immediate satisfaction. This is calculated power. Slow, measured, seeks leverage. You only reappear when your success is undeniable, obvious, overwhelmingly visible.
So they have to see it.
They have to watch you dominate the very space they thought you didn't belong in, and crucially, offer no spite. No, I told you so. No reference to the past rejection. Simply demonstrate through your presence and success that you've evolved completely beyond their reach, beyond their judgment.
So wrapping this all up, what does this deep dive mean for you, the listener? It's describing a total identity overhaul, really. Trading comfort for control. Acceptance for dominance.
The final identity sketched out here is, unshakable, unpredictable, unreachable. The goal isn't being liked or even understood. It's becoming the standard, the reference point.
There's a quote from the source.
Yeah.
You are not here to fit in. You are here to move the pieces to bend the room to your will.
And if we take that core idea that the world responds primarily to certainty, direction, gravity, it really does force a question, maybe an uncomfortable one for you to think about.
Which is?
How much of your energy right now is spent seeking approval, seeking validation, looking for soft landings, versus how much is spent actively establishing control over your own reality, your own frame? Because the path to being unforgettable, according to this specific radical perspective, it isn't through noise or fame.
It's through
Powerful silence, cold clarity, and ruthless consistency.